Hello, Alejandro.
You.
I am good. How are you?
Oh, um, I I have been practice that you recommended me. In this time, I have been preparing the present perfect continuous.
Okay.
Um, Yesterday, I I practice I practice present perfect continuous. I make a sentence about myself, and um, next I I go I I make I made some talks in pass to the paper to the talks this sentence before I practice in my head. I believe that it's a very good practice for reach fluency in English.
Which is, yeah, that's why I recommended it, is because it's real world usage of the tenses instead of, like many people I meet, they know how to make the present perfect continuous or the other tenses. They know what the rules say, but for actually using them, they're lost.
Yes. Well, I going to make more sentence um, in another verbal times. Practice in this way. I believe that in a few days or a little days, I have much more fluid in English. At least I hope that.
Well, it will definitely improve your speaking and make it easier to remember how to use it, when to use it.
Yes, it's very important. I have been searching this fluency in many places about learning English in many methods, but there are a lot of unless in Spanish a lot of vendedores de humo.
Yeah, I get you.
I don't know how to say this.
Selling smoke.
Sailing smoke. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
or the phrase we say in English is smoke and mirrors. It's
Smoke.
when we use it to describe a time when someone is showing us something and we think we're getting one thing, but it's just smoke and some mirrors for making it look different than it really is, but in reality there's no value.
Yes. The first and the most big smoke and mirror. It's a educative system in the elementary school, in the college, in anything. It's a very smoke and mirrors. No, they not preparing very well or for speak English. It's like subject like learn history or learn geography or anything else, but not for communication for for another people in the world.
Right. Many or much of the teaching in English teaches all about English, but few learn how to actually use it.
Much of the teaching in English teaching all about English, but few learn how to actually use it. All right. This is a current sentence that I said.
Yes. Well, no, there wasn't a problem. That's my sentence. It's not a correction of yours. It's yes. Much of the teaching, many people when they take courses in school or in a private institute, they know, like you said, it's like learning about history or geography. You know a lot about English. You know the rules, you know some vocabulary, you know the sounds, but they don't teach you how to speak.
Yes. I want to tell a thing similar to this topic. For example, I play chess since I was a child. I find that the improved chess, it's very similar to improve English because people have a lot of effort trying to improve chess or improve English, but don't succeed.
Don't succeed, yeah.
It's very interesting because these disciplines it has this point in common. But in chess is a little different for another reasons. In English, the problem is that there is a lot of selling smokes people or selling smoke system.
Right. Or I have a correction for you before I forget.
I have been playing chess since I was a child. All right.
Excellent. And very good on the pronunciation, a child.
All right.
Yes. And unfortunately, I don't think it's necessarily people intentionally trying to sell smoke and mirrors about English.
I agree with you.
It's the reality. It is the reality, but I don't think people for example, I met a lady on Cambly. She said she was teaching English for 6 months in another country, but she could not speak English. She was just following a book, and whoever wrote the book, she was just following what the book said. And the book taught a lot of grammar and a lot of vocabulary, but really didn't give people the opportunity to actually practice using it. And I, as a teacher or tutor, I have a different perspective than most because I learned a second language and I know the challenges of learning the second language.
This topic is very important. Do you learn Spanish or another idiom?
I learned Spanish, but I had the same problem. 1 year of classes in high school, and I could speak very, very basic Spanish. I could say, ¿Dónde está el baño? ¿Cómo puedo ir al centro? I could say very, very, very simple phrases,
All right.
but I could not hold a conversation because the class taught me pronunciation, it taught me vocabulary, you know, and even some of the applications, like I did Duolingo for a while. You know Duolingo app?
I don't like very much Duolingo.
I don't like it either because it taught me things like el pájaro azul. I'm like, okay, that's nice. The bird is blue, but how am I going to use that? I can't use that. I don't use that in a conversation.
No. All right.
But you know, I can learn. You know, me gusta tu playera roja. Okay, I can use that because I'm talking to you, and I can use that today. But the class didn't teach me that.
Yes. Well, I like to touch the topic that I passed in the link about top 10 mistakes in Django. I like to prepare a way to show that I don't commit anymore this mistake. For example,
okay,
how to do you recommend me do that?
So the best way to talk about not making mistakes is it's always better like in an interview or in a customer meeting when you're trying to show, like you said, that, you know, these are the kind of mistakes I don't make. It's better instead of saying something like, I'm looking at the article. So the first mistake says using the global system Python environment for project dependencies. So the simple way, I never use the global. I need to put it so I can see. System Python environment in my project dependencies. So I could simply say that, right? I could say, I don't do this. I never use this. But it's better to say the positive, say the same thing, but say it positively. So I always use, what's the alternative for the project dependencies? I don't know Django very well.
Well, there are libraries like pvm or emp in Python that make a virtual environment in Python and your dependencies. Is very useful for the community, but I saw that many people in the tutorials, for example, in the internet, use this virtual environment. And it's a very bad practice because mezclar, ¿cómo se decía mezclar? Mix a lot of software in the versions, and very if you want to migrate the software to the cloud, it's not working, or many problems. You have many problems in the future. It's all, but I going to make a positive sentence about these mistakes, and I learn it for make a presentations.
Yeah. So here's an example. This is something I put together.
All right.
See how I just made it positive. It's always better to use the positive version than the negative.
All right. Well, I'm going to do that. I think that is a very good advice.
Right. It's always better to speak in the positive voice than the negative, especially in business and jobs like that.
All right. I make a question for you.
Okay.
Do you know a company named Toptal?
I'm familiar with Toptal, yeah.
Because I apply for I applied for Toptal 3 years ago.
Okay.
I don't pass the English interview, but I plan to apply Toptal in 2 or 1 month. I prepared in English interview and the algorithm interview.
Okay.
Right now. What is your advice for me for this kind of interview?
Definitely prepare the common questions. And here is an article. I will share the link to you, of a guy who applied to Toptal, and he lists what happened in the different interviews and what he had to do to pass it.
Yes, so there are a lot of advices in internet about these guys, this kind of guys.
So I see that he says it's a 10-minute Skype chat just to check how good your English is.
Yes.
So you want to be prepared then for answering the questions that they will ask, which is, why do you want to work with Toptal? So you want to have a good answer of why you have decided to work with them.
Very concise. The answer must be very concise, very small.
Concise.
Very small answer.
Yeah, because it's only a 10-minute interview.
Right.
So you want to, they're going to ask you why you want to work with them. So have it prepared, understand your reasons. You know what, be very clear in the reasons that you want to work on Toptal.
All right.
And the amount of hours you will work with them, what is your rate, and most likely they're going to want a concise answer on, you know, what are your skills? Where are your, as we say, where do you shine?
Oh, this kind of question is it's. I remember. For example, what this might me. They might me a question like, "What is your vice?" It's a second question that I made, and I I live completely out of game, completely out of game with this word. Um, uh, Lately, I know that I say me, but it's a strategy for for it's a strategy, um, day strategy. I seem for you say me. Um,
Yeah.
what is a shine? What means shines?
Where you shine is what is your, it's like, what is your strength? What are the
Ah,
what are the things you're very, very good at, or what are the accomplishments that you've made that were very strong, that make, because especially with Toptal, right? Because they only want the best freelancers. You know, there's Upwork and there's other sites, but Toptal, they market to their customers, the companies that hire coders, that we only have the best in the industry, the top 3%. So you want to have a concise answer of, you know, an amazing project you've worked on, an amazing statement someone has made about you, a boss or a client. You know, that's shining. What is your strength? Where are you better than other people? What is your best talent?
yes. Sincerely, I don't consider myself um, um, to be in the top of freelancer, but I consider, yes, I consider myself, that I be able to pass this exam in any moment, um, because I believe that these top top freelancers, it's it's a marketing for your clients,
Right.
but not necessarily it's it that is. And
And of course you want to,
what do you think about this? I What do you think about this?
about applying for Toptal, or
Yes, or if you is your strategy for positioning in a market share, um, making rigorous um, test for the developers.
well, and the big thing with like a company like Toptal is, you know, the big companies work with these guys. These aren't small companies looking for the cheapest developer. These are companies that want very talented people to work with. And the other thing is in that first interview, one of the keys that it's not always going to tell you, like everybody knows to answer your strengths and your motivations, but the other thing is you gotta be on fire. You gotta be enthusiastic. You're like, I can't wait to work with Toptal. You gotta be excited. You gotta show it.
Right. I feel emotion, I must hear. Sorry, I don't. Like I I release might be very feeling with this company and show this or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to show your enthusiasm.
All right. I enthusiastic about Total. I think that is a very well company for apply and for work.
Yeah, a very good company.
My,
Remember, we only use well. Let me see. There's a time, because I know it's confusing, because in Spanish you have bien, and it translates to well and good in English. It translates to both words, but we use them differently in English. Good is an adjective. This is a good company. This food is good. He's a good employee. So when we're describing a thing, a person or a company or a place, we use good. Like this. Whoops. I'm going to paste this in for you so you have it. So good describes like a job, a noun. So we use good as an adjective.
all right.
Well is a verb.
Well, it's a verb.
Or is an adverb. Sorry, an adverb, not an adjective.
Right.
For example, he ran the race well, or he works well with a team. So it has to, well,
I understand.
To the verb, works or does or ran or feels.
Well. I understand. All right.
Which is why, like, when people say, how are you? In English, if they say, how are you? I usually say, I'm well, because I'm feeling well.
All right.
Doing well. I really shouldn't say I'm good, because it's not really correct.
All right.
I'm going to, let's see if this link actually works. This is the diagram. I'm going to find a test, because they recommend for the English part of the Toptal interview that your level is a B2 or higher. And I can't really tell you if it's a B2, but I'm going to try and find a test you can take that will tell you if you're B1, B2, C1, what's your level?
All right.